This country's unity was never sacrosanct. This country's unity is not sanctimonious. Yes, the country's unity was never sacrosanct, and it is imminent that this country will either break up or implode right from the center. We can see today that the North is now breaking up, wherein the Middlebeltans are now totally extracting themselves from the collective Ariwa. Over the years, the Middlebelts were deceived. They were told their history was rewritten that they are the same with the Hausa Fulani. But in the recent time, we can see that the country, every corner is not united. There is religious bigotry, there is tribal bigotry, there is chaos from north to south, from west to east. So therefore, look at what is going on. Yesterday, January 15th, if Nigeria was working, would have been a day to immortalize and celebrate the supposed heroes of Nigeria. But what do we see? The Northerners, just as seen on my screen, a very popular former senator from Kaduna, Senator Shehu Fulani, came out with a divisive tweet. Started saying that the mothering of Sardauna is an unforgettable and unforgiving, blow. Then that tweet was followed up by the former special assistant to digital communication of Muhammad Buhari. That one said that those that killed Sardauna will never know peace and they will never be forgiven. We know who they are talking to. We, of course, see their handwriting. But you know what? Those who have always been fingered that they are the one that carried out this coup, they have always said that coup was an Igbo coup, even without any form of evidence. A coup that had Yoruba, a coup that had the Middlebelt, a coup that had people from Calabar. But again, it was start an Igbo coup. Why? Because the Nigerian unity, right from the onset, has always had the issue with the Igbos. The Nigerian unity has always been a forced marriage for the Igbos. Let us assume that the Yorubas and the Fulanis, and let's say not until recently, the Middlebeltans wanted to be a united, maybe, nations. But the Igbos, right from the onset, always have faced serious issues with even the colonial masters at the early stage. This same Sardauna came out in an interview. He said the Igbos are too domineering. He said the Igbos have always been operating like invaders and intruders. A man who is being celebrated by the Northerners today, Sardauna of Sokoto. I think Ahmadu Bello is his name. This is the same man on my screen. He said, the man who has always said, the new nation called Nigeria should be an estate for our great-grandfather, Uthman Dafodio. We must ruthlessly prevent a change of power. We use the minorities in the north as willing tools and the south as a conquered territory, and never allow them to rule over us and never allow them to have control over their future. This is the man whom the same Northerners today are saying his death will never be forgiven, will never be forgotten, and those who were the perpetrators, their, their ethnicity, their region will be ostracized, will be marginalized for as long the Nigerian as a nation exists. But here is the breaking news to the Northerners. Right before your eyes, Nigeria will either break up or implode, because they can no longer have this mindset. The Nigeria cannot be your great father's estate. Your great grandfather, first and foremost, was an illiterate. Yes, when it comes to education, when it comes to innovation, when it comes to invention, show me the record. What your great grandfather invented. Okay? These are the things that portrays a man's legacy, not religious beliefs. Uthman Danfodio was a man who lived his whole life only to take people's land deceptively, deceive people into believing that the religion is a religion of peace, but with a sinister agenda to take up their children, enslave them, steal their land from them and use it for farming, and on the long run, use them as farm slaves. During the years of Uthman Danfodio, places like Bauchi were never an estate of the Fulanis. These places were for the Kanuris. Bauchi also accommodated a lot of Middlebeltans, people from Jos, because Bauchi shares a borderline with the northern Plateau state of today. But of course, when Uthman Danfodio invaded, conquered these people, the majority of his slaves were camped. In fact, Bauchi became the biggest and the largest concentration camp of Fulani slaves today. This is why most of them changed their identity. Most of them, their identity were changed and they all became Fulanis. Most of those that rejected to assimilate or accept the change of identity were wiped out, they were cleansed. That is why you see that a person like Bala Mohammed today has become the biggest and the loudest voice of the Fulanis, because the impact, the influence of the Uthman Danfodio cleansing, purging of that land to this very day is still impactful, can still be seen and perceived in Bauchi State. The Igbos, and now today, the North Central people are coming out to say, let us go. Yet those that are crying, shedding tears, that the death of their supposed best leader, a man who openly spoke bigoted words against some certain elements, some certain segment of a united country. After this video, I will play that video where Ahmadu Bello said it is more preferable for the Northerners to employ a white man over an Igbo man. They said because the Igbo man, if you employ him, his intention will be to dominate, and on the long run, it will bring his people and they'll take over the land. In the last 58 years, I have never seen where this has happened. If at all the Igbos come and dominate, it will be on merit base. That's it. If you have an economy and your economy seems to be a potential and a viable one, but you have your locals, you have your own indigents, who instead of them to open businesses, open shops, so that they can exploit the viability of that economy, they would rather go to Quranic schools, highly managed schools to cram Quran, or like their counterpart in Saudi Arabia, who are involving themselves in Western education, in engineering, or like their counterparts in Qatar, who are now opening up their economy for people to come in. You are still stuck in the past. You are still stuck in that era of with Madame Fodio, where everything is spread. It has to be Quranic, Arabic. These young people leave their estate in the southeast, come into your own territory. They do everything legitimately. They meet their landlord, who will, of course, be a Fulani man. They pay him shop rent. They set up their business. Having done their own feasibility study, what would sell here? Will I be selling spare parts? Will I be selling electrical appliances? Will I be selling groceries? And so on and so forth. Now, they go to the market, stock their stores, and be patient. After maybe 2-3 years, when they have been able to build a name for themselves in that territory, assimilate and even understand your language, because you will hardly see where these same people will come into your territory and within years will not want to learn. They are the, when you're looking for any region that speaks more languages, I can categorically say it is the Igbos, because they are the most spread out ethnicity in Nigeria. You can count the numbers of ourselves that speak Igbos, because they are not much, and because they do not go out their region to set up businesses, to set up economic, investments. They don't. The Yorubas are still fair. They still move. They still set up businesses. They do that. But you will see the Igbo, they have no limit. They will go to the north, set up their business, because they follow the money. That is their own motto. The motto of an ordinary Igbo man is follow the money. They are after the money. Okay? So they will come into your territory, do what I've said earlier, get a shop, stock their store, and then do their business over a period of time, gain their popularity, and have a brand. When they are viable, they bring in their cousins or their village people, come in for a boy, learn this job. And when that boy finishes learning and acquiring the skill of the business, and also along the line, maybe learn the language, that boy will be let go maybe after 4-6 years. That 4 to 6 years, the boy was learning the trade. The northerners child, boy, will have gone to school to learn Quran. You can see the differences. You can see the disparity in culture. Okay? One is ready to pass the trade skill down. The other one is ready to pass the skill, the knowledge of religious belief down. On the long run, who do you think will be economically viable? Who do you think will be more prosperous? You don't need further maths. You don't need applied maths. In fact, you do not need elementary mathematics to know who will. The man who controls the economy of a locality will always be the most prosperous person. There's no debate to that. Nobody can argue that. And nobody put you in that condition. You chose it. You in fact said that it is your own culture, that it is a must that you go to this school. While you are in that school, your own fellow counterpart said he doesn't care. All he's after is following the money. When you now see him prospering, you become envious. Then a person like Middlebelt will come out and say the Igbos are domineering. He was asked, wouldn't this be a shame to that world united Nigeria? He said it doesn't matter. Okay, the guys have accepted. Since it doesn't matter, can we go? Can we have our way? The same people stopping these guys are not the Yorubas. The same people stopping these guys who have always said, let us leave Nigeria. are not the Middlebeltans. It is not the Waris. In fact, the Waris are today fighting for their own independence from the shackles of the Fulani's bondage. It is not the Chukuns. It is not the Bokus in Plateau State. It is not the Agatu in Nasarawa. No, of course. It is still the same people who are crying today, saying that those that killed their forefather, their patriots, will never be forgiven. Okay, you want to keep them in this cage so that they can continuously be tortured? Is that the agenda? It is right before everybody's eyes. It has been exposed. People are now more knowledgeable. I'm not going to say Nigerians are now more exposed. I'm going to say Yoruba Nation, the Biafran Nation, the Middlebelt forums, everybody eye don't wake, everybody eye don't clear. It is only where they can gain, they can suck, exploit, extract. Take a look at what's happening in Nigeria today. The largest owners of oil wells in the south Niger Delta, go and check the record. They are from the north. Even those that own the land are not in any way, they are not in any way reaping the resources that God gave them. No. It is some element from far away north. Nigeria's unity is not sacrosanct, I repeat. The evils committed 58 years ago on this nation, the unholy marriage called Federal Republic of Nigeria, will break up or will implode within a matter of years. Thank you. Bye for now.